Welcome to Season 2 of Producer Points. My name is Justin Gamella, and I'll be your host. I'm a producer and songwriter who's had the honor of working with some of the best in the industry. This season, we're diving even deeper into one-on-one conversations with producers, mixers, songwriters, and artists, exploring their unique journeys, creative process, and insights that shape great music. Join me for real talks, straight from the studio, where music and life intersect. This is Producer Points. Today on Producer Points, we're sitting down with one of the most multifaceted and hardest working humans I know. He's a live DJ, one half of the artist duo Love Language, co-founder of Pack Records and Pack Publishing, and easily one of the best live drummers in the game. His ability to seamlessly move between roles, whether it's behind the kit, on the decks, or behind the scenes building up independent artists, makes him one of the most exciting and versatile forces in music today. And beyond all of that, I've known this guy since the day he was born because he also happens to be my cousin. Join me in welcoming Gavin Chops. Dude, thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. That was a really nice intro.
I try really hard, I'm not going to lie. It's also easier when it's like, you know, a lot of the guests the first season, I knew them really well. Obviously, I know you really well. But half the guests this season I haven't known. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, it's so much harder to write an intro when like I don't know this person. I just have to like go based off things I find on the internet. But yeah, these are always so much easier. But dude, so happy you're here. For those of you who don't know, Gavin is based in New York. He's out in LA playing a show with, I'm sorry, what's the band's name you're playing with again?
I'm playing with this band called Super Taste.
Okay,
they're sick. Super tasty.
Yeah, what kind of music is it for our listeners?
It's like disco funk with like a cosmic feel, like very like it's cool. There's like some jams, but it's not a jam band. It's like disco-y jams, and it's really fun. Like I'm usually a much more animated drummer, but for this I have to be super locked in because it's like, you know, I have to be just the heartbeat.
Yeah,
like
you're the pocket,
more than
you're
ever. Even drumming, you're always the heartbeat, but like I'm not being animated up there. I'm very. It's like a meditative practice for me playing with this band.
That's amazing.
So it's cool. Yeah, if you know like bands like Parcells, I'd say it's kind of close to that.
Yeah, Gavin is like, I'm always so impressed by how deep into independent music he is. It's like one of like, I don't know, I think it's one of the coolest things about you, where it's like I'm in the music industry and he brings up all these artists and I'm just like, I have no fucking idea who that is. But then whenever I listen to them, I'm like, oh, like this is sick. I remember like, I know they're huge, but like you introduced me to Jungle years ago. Mm-hmm. You're like, yeah, I love this band Jungle. I'm like, never fucking heard of them. And then I'm like, oh, they're sick.
They're still my favorite band.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
even though they've blown up now, and that's usually I guess I can be a bit snobby when a band blows up, and I'm like, it's now for everybody. It's no longer for me. But they're always my like number one on Spotify. I just think they hit like just every dopamine receptor in my brain.
Oh god, they're really, dude, incredible. Yeah, like Gavin, and we're going to talk about it in this episode, but Gavin is so good, and this is why he co-founded a label. He's so good at finding artists early on and understanding who they are and what their audience is and how big they eventually can be. I think it's like such a unique talent that you have, and I don't want to talk about it yet, but we're going to go into it a little bit later.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, no, of course. So the first thing we always start with in every podcast is how you got started in the music industry. Like where was that initial, kind of spark for you?
I mean, it started for me at a very young age, just getting into music, just, my parents putting me in piano lessons and then becoming a drummer. It just always touched my soul in an unexplainable way before I even knew what the music industry was. I've always been a music artist, and when we used to meet up at our grandparents' house, we would just be in the basement. They had a couple instruments down there and we'd just be jamming.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And it's just so funny, growing up, it's like every time like we would talk like, oh, you're in a band, you're recording music too? Oh, you're now a songwriter, you're moving to LA to actually do music. It was just always this cool bond that we had of just, being in music together.
And for our listeners, it's like Gavin was my cousin, but like we weren't able to be super close because I was in Long Island, he was in Connecticut. So we would see each other like, considering how far apart we were, like a good amount.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like, like some cousins, you see them every weekend.
Yeah.
But yeah, we always had that at our grandparents. They like very lovingly, for as much as they put focus on education, they really did support us in being, buying whatever guitar I had my eye on, or like drum sets, and like keeping them in the house, and letting me practice in their basement and stuff.
Yeah.
It's always one of the things I admired about them at the time.
Yeah. Very, very supportive in just like they weren't like, they were always like, do business, be
Yeah.
a lawyer, but they're like, oh, here's some stuff to play with, and
Yeah,
we'll let you
exactly.
jam in the basement and make noise.
And what a mistake they made.
Yeah, seriously.
So always had music in your blood as a kid. Where did you start to make it more of a professional thing?
Um, it just always it doesn't even feel like a professional thing
Right.
for me still. I still feel like a 10-year-old kid. I've been doing the same thing since I was a kid. I've been
Yeah.
playing drums, I've been playing in bands. I've been, always very passionate about working with other artists and helping them, feel like that they can shine too, and show them the potential and like the route that they can take. Like I've been doing that since I was a kid. Like I've always just been interested in making music, and then also like helping my friends, make music and like do the branding and like come up with their story and like whatever it takes.
Right.
I'm passionate about music, period.
Yeah, it's fucking incredible, because I remember, like, yeah, you went to, God, you went to Syracuse, and then where'd you go? Was it Fordham?
Fordham, yeah.
Fordham after, and then yeah, like I thought, like, Grandma would be like, yeah, Gavin's like doing this thing, and he's whatever, like doing business. Like, oh great, like sounds good. And then all of a sudden you hit me up. You're like, yeah, you were working for, like, what was that random, like, it was like a label or some kind of EDM thing.
Beatport.
Beatport.
That was
That's
my
what it
first
was.
like my
Yeah.
first like real job,
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. I mean, I went to school for business.
Right.
My parents were like, if it was up to me, I probably wouldn't have gone to college.
Right.
And just focused on music. I probably would have. I mean, I love my path that I've been taking, but I
Right.
probably could have just focused on music.
Right.
And they maybe taken that, college tuition and just given me the money to just like
Right.
go. But I mean, I really enjoyed my college experience. Went to Syracuse freshman year, transferred to Fordham to be in New York City. And, I was not really focused. I was focused on school. I learned a lot in my entrepreneurship classes, which I still take with me to this day. But, I was really there to, DJ and to intern at other companies and to
Yeah.
just be in the scene already. Like, I was the guy at every party DJing. I was in the bands at school. I was, taking the train into the city every night to like go see artists and like network, I guess. I wouldn't, it was pretty much organic.
You don't realize
but
it's networking, but it is.
yeah,
It's like you're just meeting people,
yeah, you would never find me at a networking event,
Right.
but I am outside,
Right.
like just
doing the thing.
just talking to everybody.
Yeah, and so from starting to your job at Beatport, how did you eventually, I feel like, because like I was on the periphery of everything, so I'm actually curious about a lot of this.
Hmm.
Like, how did you eventually start drumming live for like huge artists like Chelsea Cutler, and then eventually starting your own label and publishing company?
Yeah, I mean, I'm 32 now. My 20s feel like I lived about 20 different lives. It all was happening all at the same time.
Yeah.
I started at Beatport, realized I hated being in an office setting. It's funny because I'm in one now and I actually
Yeah.
enjoy it. But at the
It's
time,
on
I
your
felt
terms though.
yeah,
That's the
yeah,
difference.
that's true.
Yeah.
Um, I felt like a dog in a cage, even though I also loved Beatport. I
Right.
met a lot of amazing people. My boss at Beatport is like one of my mentors to this day.
Right.
Um, I joined the company at a funny time. It was like going through a restructure, and so about a year in, my whole team got laid off,
Oh wow.
and I was already started managing some of my friends, and so I was getting my foot in the door in management, which kind of like was my door opener to meeting my business partners who I would eventually start the label with. It started as a management company. And then while doing all this, I was always drumming for my friends, playing in small bands. Honestly, I had zero, I didn't think I would ever be a professional drummer. That was really
Yeah.
not in my trajectory or my thought. I was like, I'm in the music business. Like,
Right.
I'm going to be in business. But like, I'd get home from work every day and I had my drum set at my apartment because we lived in like an artist loft building, and I would just be playing drums. It was just what I did. It's been what
Right.
I've been doing forever. And, it's that preparedness meeting an opportunity is what people call luck. And so when Chelsea needed a sub for, a couple of her shows, their management knew me just from the business world and hit me up to sub. And I took vacation off of work. I was working for a different company called Fuga when that happened. And they asked me again a month later to cover shows. And then Chelsea called me about a day before her first sold out tour and asked me if I wanted to go. And I was like, can you give me like an hour or two?
Like figure my shit out.
I got a call. So I called, all my friends, my parents, just to get, and everyone's like, this is what you've been wanting to do your whole life, except for, my mom, and it was like, you have a salary and and insurance, and this is only 5 weeks. And I was like, I would regret this if I didn't do this. And so, I called my boss and I was like, I love working here. I was doing playlist pitching at the time, and I loved doing that. I loved, being in that world too. But I was like, I got this opportunity I can't refuse. And that's when I became a professional drummer at 26. It wasn't like, I really wasn't expecting it. It kind of came out of nowhere. And then that was, the next 5 years of my life. I mean, I guess I'm still doing it, but
you're not doing it. It's not like your main thing that you're doing.
No.
As opposed to like when you were drumming with Chelsea all those years, it was like, I feel like that was your main thing. And you had other things in the periphery.
Yeah. I mean, I've never really had a main thing because I was also building the label with my business partners while on the road. Like I would, wake up at like 7 a.m., find the closest cafe while I was on tour. I would take meetings. I would be doing normal work, and then I would go to sound check, and then the show was at night, so it was never interfering with the work day. So I was burning the candle at both ends, but it's just like I love just everything I do, so it doesn't feel like work. Even though I get tired and burnt out, it was never. I was like, it's like, oh, this sucks. It was always like I'm stoked. Like I'm just like I guess what really made my headspace what it is today is when I graduated college, and everyone's like, you got to pick one thing, and like you got to like just go at whatever that one thing is. And I was like, my one thing is music,
right?
And whatever falls under that, as long as I'm contributing to music culture, whether I'm being an artist, if I'm helping other artists, like I'm going towards my goal of music. And so it all to me is the same thing, whether I'm on the business side or an artist.
And I think too, it's like being a live musician like that, where I've been on both ends of it. I haven't done like too much like being only a player in someone else's band. I've done it a little bit. But kind of the advantage of that, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that your only job that day is to like sit in the van or sit in the bus and then not be fucking drunk when you play and go up and play. And then that's it. Those are your only responsibilities. So it gives you these like other opportunities. Like you took that opportunity to be like, oh, I have a lot of like free time.
So much time.
Right.
So much time. It's like I could either just float.
Right.
And like, when I was on tour, I was like, oh, I understand how people become like drug addicts, and because you have so much time.
Yeah.
And if you don't have like a good head on your shoulders, you can really go down a dangerous path.
Yeah.
Which is probably fun at first, but then
no, it's not. There's no long term thing with that. It's not sustainable. And that's what I try and tell people too. There's like, I bring you up as an example to like people who are like doing the live musician thing. I was like, you can do other shit. Like, and like, like you probably can work a part-time job, remotely, technically, like if just to like help pay the bills. Like I'm not saying like to further the music career, or it's like start making content. There's so
much time.
The internet is like the worst thing and the best thing in the world, especially for music, where it's like you can do the thing, you can build up yourself. If you want to be a guitarist and you want to play live with whatever artist you're touring with, but you also want to like start making sample packs for your guitar, like do it while you're on fucking tour.
Straight up.
Like, I just think it's like, I don't want to call it lazy or uninspired, but it's like, I don't know, like there's so much like blessing to like, oh, I'm only doing guitar for this tour. It's like, great, do other shit, man. Like,
I mean, that's the thing. It's like what I always tell, my biggest advice to anybody is, even people who are like, I'm not creative, I'm like, you are, because how you spend your time every day, how you use your time every day is the biggest act of creativity that we have. How you structure your day, how you use your time, and like that's what I'm always thinking about is like, how can I maximize my time so I can do all the things that I like to do, or need to do. And on tour, it was very easy to do because it's like I have all day.
Right.
literally have all day. It's like I could just sit here and like
Were
on
you
the
guys
bus.
on a van or a bus when you were doing those tours?
First tour was a van,
Okay.
and then we, graduated to a
To a
bus.
bus,
I
yeah.
honestly like the van better.
Really? Was it like one of those like Mercedes like nice vans, whatever?
No, it's like, shitty just van, but like
What is it?
it's just like I loved it because it was my first time touring around the country.
Yeah.
I have the views of, seeing the country, and then we sleep in the bed every night.
Right. That's
You
nice.
know,
Yeah.
I really wasn't a fan of the tour bus,
Bed.
sleeping on the
Yeah.
bus. Like, I don't think I ever really got a good night's sleep because there's so many variables. Your bus driver could be not a great driver,
Yeah.
which was like
It's
sometimes
terrifying.
I would, it's like things are falling out of your bunk. You might fall out of the bunk.
Yeah.
Like, it's like a coffin
Right.
too.
For listeners, like a tour bus bed is like, I don't know, you got maybe like 2.5 feet of space. Like,
You can't sit up.
yeah.
There's no, I mean, if you have, we lucked out one tour where it was like the biggest tour we did. We were opening for Quinn 92. And so there was like also another bus for all of the people working on the tour. Usually they, when it was just a Chelsea tour, they'd also be on our bus.
Right.
So we were able to have, instead of 3 people like on top of each other, it was
Right.
just 2 people. So we had like more space, and that was
Okay, that's
nice.
good. Yeah.
But still, it's not a lot.
No, it's not ideal.
No.
It's I mean, I learned very quickly that I did not like touring. It wasn't
Yeah.
for me. I was just like, and it sucks because I do love playing live. I love playing live, but the act of touring is just like, it's not for everyone. And I learned that I like being in the studio. I like creating and like doing that thing, and I like having like somewhat of a stable home life.
Totally.
You know what I mean? But dude, that's fucking. I love all that. I want to talk a little bit about, now you're starting your own artist project
Yes.
called Love Language, and I remember you were sending me demos like 2 years ago, and I was like, yeah, stuff's pretty fucking cool. It's like not stuff I can make, but it's I loved that first record that you sent me, Holy Ghost. It was just like vibey and cool, had like a good groove to it. But what made you want to step into doing the artist thing? And how's that collaboration? I never met the guy. What's the other guy's?
Andreas.
Andreas. How's that whole collaboration going?
It's the best.
Yeah.
It's absolutely the best. I've always been producing.
Right.
Like since I was a kid, first in GarageBand, then in Logic, and I'm pretty just stuck in Logic. Like he uses Ableton. I am so bad at Ableton. It's so funny. Like I can't even function. So
it's so different than Logic.
Yeah. It's like my brain. I want to get better. It's like one of my resolutions this year is to be able to like function within Ableton.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty Logic heavy, and a lot of our sessions are sending stuff back and forth.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's super fun. But yeah, it's great. Like like I said, I've always wanted to be an artist, and I met Andreas. I was drumming for this artist at the time, Anna Shoemaker, which is his ex-girlfriend.
Okay.
And Anna asked me to drum on some of her music, so I went to the studio. He was engineering the session. He's an amazing producer, even outside of our project. He's amazing. Andreas is just an amazing producer. And so I met him in that session, and then we went on a double date with both of our exes, at the time. And he's like, I'm gonna go smoke a joint outside. I was like, I'll come with you. We ended up just like chatting outside of this bar for like an hour, and it was like we've known each other forever. And we just started seeing each other. He started booking me at Wiggle Room, which is like where I have a residency as a DJ. And every time we would see each other, be like, yo, we gotta do something soon. And we didn't really know what that was yet.
Right.
But then we got in the studio, and we just were having so much fun, and we're both on the same wave. Like how we communicate, it's just so effortless. Like even when we don't like something that we're doing, it's it's never taken personally. And it's always just like we know we're both like very dedicated to the same mission. And
I think that's the blessing of being in like a duo in your 30s versus your 20s.
Yeah.
It's like you've learned, it's like, we're just trying to make something cool. It's like, it's not about like who does what or who came up with what.
No, yeah.
It's a hard lesson to learn.
Yeah, it's just whatever, you know, it's like, and it's just been such an amazing process. And I think we have a really cool sound.
Yeah, I agree.
It's like a accumulation of a bunch of our inspirations. We have very similar music tastes, which makes it easy as well. And we also complement each other very well. Like I can't play guitar or bass, and he's absolutely slays at those. So all the bass lines are pretty much him. There's sometimes I'll do the bass line on
Right.
synth or whatever,
Yeah.
and then he'll redo it on an actual bass guitar.
Right.
But he's got his sound locked in there, and like I guess how I would describe our sound, it's some people be like, oh, you guys make disco house music. I was
Yeah.
like, I don't like calling it that.
Yeah.
It's like I'd say it's disco flavored
Yeah.
house music. It's got
I think people just hear like a specific type of drum beat and they're like disco, and it's like
or a bass line.
right,
You know?
you're right. They're like real bass and like those type of drums. It's like disco, and it's like, well, sure,
Kind of, yeah.
but not really.
We just want to evoke similar feelings that disco evokes. Like
Yeah.
I love how joyous and like carefree it makes you want to like,
Yeah.
you know, just look up at the sky and be blissful. And like
Yeah.
I want to. That's the kind of feelings that we're trying to like push with our music and make people like, you know, I guess it's escapism in a way.
Yeah.
We want people to just like forget about their
Well, I
problems.
hear that in the vocals and like the top
Yeah.
line, and it's like that's where like if you were to sold those top lines, you would never think disco
Yeah.
in a million years. And there's like disco songs where it's like you hear the top line and you're like, oh, that's disco.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where you guys are like winning and finding a lot of uniqueness and like and where you're choosing to meld and just how you treat your vocals with like kind of like a lot of reverb, but in like the best way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like I don't know. I'm super impressed by it. I think it's
Well, you know, we're also inspired by a lot of like, you know, Tame Impala.
right.
You know, we both have a affinity for, you know, rock music and psychedelic rock music. Like we eventually want to start a side project called the Yum Yuckers, which is more of like a rock project.
Sick.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Mhm.
Like record like real drums and everything.
Yeah,
and, like,
well,
do the-
we're actually gonna start so we're working on our second EP right now for Love Language,
Okay.
and we're going into the studio next week where I'm gonna drum over all of our demos.
sick. That's
So
amazing.
we can have a more of like, you know, a real feel on the drums. I can add actual fills.
Yep.
And just like my own flavor.
I think so much of those like early disco records, and it's why it's like a lot of people use like they want loops that were played by real people,
Mhm.
right? You want that pocket.
Yeah.
And I think you can do that. This is like the more the producer side of things. It's like get you in there, play the thing, and then like, all right, you want like a more like for lack of a better term here, like EDM kick, like layer it in.
Exactly.
Great.
That's
And
what we
it's-
want to do. We just
right.
want to like, because another one of our favorite artists, Neil Francis. I watch a lot of like their YouTube videos,
Yeah.
and they do a lot of mixed like electronic and acoustic drums
Yeah.
on their tracks, and
And it's so easy nowadays where you can just like with like a click of a button, you can turn your real drums into MIDI.
yeah,
Where it's like Pro Tools, and I think Logic can do this too, where it's like, oh, your kick mic, just like drag it down. It's like, there you go. Just like you can layer on a kick, and
Yeah.
it just makes it so much easier to do now. And like before, it was like, you know, triggering using like Slate Trigger or whatever, but it's the same exact thing. I kind of like having the MIDI for whatever
Mhm.
reason. It just makes it, I don't know, a little bit easier, and I can control it more. This is more like the technical like producer thing, but then like trigger sometimes fucks up, and it's like hard to fix. Versus MIDI, it's like, oh, it fucked up there, and I just delete it,
yeah,
and it's way easier
super easy.
to control. You know, with that, I wanted to go into the song deep dive,
Cool.
and this is a special episode because my cousin is so prolific and he does so many things that I want to talk about other topics than just production today. So we're only doing one song deep dive today, which is both unfortunate and fortunate because he's going to share so much other cool knowledge. But the song we're going to do today is by his. You guys call yourself a band or a duo? What do you like to be called?
We're just a duo.
A duo,
you
yeah.
know? We want to play live as
Right,
a band. We'll bring in
yeah.
other members for that, but we're just a duo.
Yeah, it's always because
Yeah.
I had a duo, but we always called ourselves a band,
Mm-hmm.
but it was also like a different genre. Love Languages Midnight featuring Holiday87 and Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you talk about how that collaboration came together and how you brought in Holiday87 and Jones on the track?
Totally. So, you know, we had the demo, obviously. Then it had scratch vocals from Andreas on it.
Okay.
We then sent that to Jones, and I met Jones through, she did a collaboration with one of the artists that I work with named OTR.
Okay.
And so I got connected through that, and I just hit them up, be like, hey, like, I have this track, like, I'm starting an artist project, would love to get you on there. She loved the track, so she then sent over her vocals, and she's incredible. She's
Yeah.
just like, I just knew she was going to crush it. She just has that like that UK swag that you just like, just incredible. Just like her, it's like we gave her no notes. It was just like, here's the song, do what you want,
Yeah.
like enjoy. Like,
There's nothing better than when an artist just like gets it, where they're like,
Yeah.
cool, I'm just gonna like kill this, and you're like, great.
we honestly find that you You don't have to. We'd rather not give notes and just give the song a title.
Right.
And the title of the demo for us, what we've seen will guide the artist in the direction that we want. It just happened again on another song that's called "Can't Lose the Heat."
Okay.
And the artist on it just absolutely crushed the top line.
So when you're sending, for at least for this record, you sent them, like, was it just the instrumental with like some vocal ideas on it, or like what was it? What did she get?
We sent her, just the instrumental, and it had none of the production really that the final product had.
Right, it was just
like,
the idea.
just an idea. Like, it was really just the bass line, some kind of structure.
Yeah.
So we sent her that, and then she sent back a version with like a couple different ideas on it. And then we actually took what she had as the chorus, we made it the verse. And we took a piece of the verse and made it the chorus. Like, we just completely
just mess around
rearranged
with it,
it.
yeah.
We always do that. Like,
Yeah.
every time we get a top line back, most of the time we will completely just tear it apart, put it back together.
Yeah.
And then Holiday87, he's actually part of the group The Knox.
Okay.
And he's an absolutely prolific producer.
Yeah.
He's a big idol, just like, just watching how he works, the songs that he's written. And Holiday87 is his side project.
Okay.
And we sent him the track, and he was like, "Oh, I love this. Like, I want to like add some
Yeah.
stuff." And we're like, "Okay, like
Sick.
amazing." And
How did you get connected with him?
so Andreas was actually the tour manager for the Knox
Oh, okay.
years ago. And so they became friends all through that. And they've just been our biggest supporters in this artist
Amazing.
project.
Yeah.
Like, Holy Ghost is actually with James Patterson, who's the other
Right.
half of the Knox, J-Pat. So they are always like helping us out, working with us on tracks. Like, we have them like on some of the new stuff too, which
Sick.
is super cool.
Yeah.
And then they also like put us on, like, we've opened for them twice now, like in New York. We played like Rockefeller Center, which was crazy. Like,
That's amazing.
where the ice skating rink usually
Yeah.
is. We played we opened for them there, and then at Elsewhere too, which was
That's
super
so
cool.
That's amazing that they're like bringing you up with them.
Yeah, it's awesome to like have their support. Yeah, it feels really good, especially getting their feedback and them being like they like our stuff. Like, whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I've been DJing the Knox music and listening to them since high school.
Right.
And like meeting them, and like it's like, obviously I play it cool, but it's very surreal for me.
Oh, yeah.
Being like, I'm friends with these guys. I text with these guys now.
It's a weird thing. I have a couple like people who I work with who I've become friends with that, like, yeah, like you were like someone who I really looked up to
Yeah.
growing up. We just had him on the podcast. I don't know if you ever heard of this band called Envy on the Coast back in the day.
No.
They were a band that I loved growing up, and his name is Ryan Hunter. He was like the lead singer, main songwriter in the band, and like we've become friends because he's out in LA now, and I had him on the podcast, and I was able to like tell him, I'm like, yeah, man, like we never really spoke about this, but like you were a huge influence. And it's just wild. It's just like a weird thing where it's just like you eventually like learn to be like, okay, right, we're all just people.
Yeah.
We all just want to like make cool music.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't really matter, but yeah, it's one of the cooler aspects of this job, getting to work with people who you like genuinely look up to, and it's even better when they're not dicks.
Yeah.
Because there definitely are plenty of dicks out there.
I know. I haven't run into any times yet where I meet like an idol and they're like a dickhead to me yet. So that's been nice.
Yeah, it's only happened once to me, so that's it.
I'm sure it'll happen to me as well.
Eventually, it's just statistics at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I fucking love that. So, song comes together, and does Holiday87 finish it, or are you guys finishing the record and putting it all together?
So he added so much just atmosphere to the track. Like, he added this really cool chop section in the post chorus, and then like the breakdown was really all him, and it just gave it this like it made the song structure just feel so good. Like when I heard the breakdown, like after he worked on it, I was like, oh my God, like I could never do this. Like, this is so cool.
And you have no idea what he did. He just like sent it over. You're like, sick.
Well, I wasn't. He Andreas went up to. So he lives upstate New York.
Okay.
Andreas went up, and he was there when they were like playing around with it. So I wasn't there for when he was working on it. But then we got it back, and then we added the post chorus like lead synth line.
Yeah.
And then just like getting it from, that 85% to 100. We're
Right.
just
It's
like
just
tinkering with things, and yeah, I mean that's still one of my favorite songs that we've written so
yeah.
far.
Yeah, it's dude. I mean, I love that one. It was funny. I would brought up Holy Ghost because that one is like my personal favorite. It's not that
Hmm.
I don't like Midnight, but I was like, oh, it was. And then we're like, no, I think let's talk about Midnight. And like, I'm glad I did like another deep dive on it. Uh, when you told me to like, we want to talk about it, so I was listening to it a bunch. I was like, this is fucking sick. Like, it always was.
Thank
But
you.
it's like,
Yeah,
I was like,
I
I'm
love
glad.
it because it's like it just the way the song flows from start to finish.
Yeah,
It just feels like natural. Just feels
yeah,
like not forced. It feels like just flows, from start to finish. I enjoy it every time I listen to it. Same with Holy Ghost too.
yeah.
Holy Ghost, it's just funny for us because it's a demo. Like
Right.
we, JPat's computer crashed and
You couldn't
the
do it.
project was just gone, so we just had to take the demo
Oh my
and we're
god.
just like, let's just put it out
This is a
anyway.
good time to tell all you young producers to back up all your shit on Dropbox.
Yeah. And at the same time, just put this shit out anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, it's like, do what you got to do, but like, damn it, especially it's like it's different when it's in your own music, but if you lose someone else's,
Yeah,
session and you're like, oh fuck,
that's
like,
true.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's never happened to me because my anxiety has always been just like, what if I do that? And I've always just had like a backup. Like basically how it works for me is my Dropbox is always on and my sessions are always being saved on it
Hmm.
at all times. So if like lightning hits the house and the house goes on fire, it's like, oh, it's on Dropbox. Like,
Yeah, I
we're
gotta do
good.
that. I'm pretty much I live life on the edge with
Yeah,
most of these things. Like even DJing, I only
yeah.
have one USB that's not backed
You're
up.
crazy.
And it just has all my music on it. Like it's a valuable USB.
Yeah.
And like if I lose that, I just have to start
Do you at least have an
over.
AirTag on it?
I don't know.
You should put an
I've
AirTag.
gotten lucky. I've gotten so lucky. Like one time I lost it and
Yeah.
like cuz like sometimes you DJ and then you go out
Yeah,
to
of
like an
course.
afters
Yeah.
afterwards and you're drunk and I have my USB in my pocket
Yeah.
and one time I was at my friend's house at an afters and it just fell out of my pocket and I was like, "Yo, can you just check between the couch cushions?" And it was there. But
God,
I got to it's like it's on my to-do list. I have a
I
very
know.
big to-do list though, so it's hard to get to.
I know. That's like, I don't know. Just, I think, like I said, it's like I've always been like that. Whatever, like, even when I was doing music at like 15, 16, I always had backups. My dad, who you obviously know, like, he always had backups. Like, you should always have backups. And like, it's like, all right, dad, like, sounds good.
Yeah, I
Guess
got to
like,
get on that organized
I
wave.
know. I mean, listen, when you're doing like, you're mostly doing your own music and like, when it's when like you're doing other people's music and it's like, okay, I'm responsible for like their child
Yeah.
at this point.
We're
And
starting to write for others,
there you go. So
which
yeah,
we have, yeah, and it's been
gotta back
cool.
up that shit, Gavin.
Yeah, it's been cool to like go down the trajectory of like people that just like honestly all of like we have two cuts now, one that's gonna come out very soon.
Sick.
Um, and this is like another cool thing for anyone up and coming and doesn't really like think that they can write for other people or
Right.
whatever. Like I just shot my shot. Like
Hmm.
there's this band called Night Tapes. They're like one of my favorite bands. I would say they're like a new age Fleetwood Mac to me.
Okay. Sick.
Fleetwood Mac was making music now. Like the
Also, see what I mean? Like this guy just like knows so many fucking bands and shit. And I'm just like, nope, I have no idea who they are.
Night Tapes they're
Yeah.
so good. Like we got to hang out with them in New York. Like we didn't meet them. We made this whole song with them. They live in the UK. The singer's from Estonia. She's incredible. She's like this she's like a spirit from another world. How she talks and like her voice is amazing. And the guys I mean I guess they all make the music together,
Right.
but they just have an amazing sound and like they're a big inspiration for me too.
Sick.
And I just shot them a message on Instagram with a demo,
Yeah.
and they didn't respond the first time. I followed up, and then they're like,
Did you know? But you knew them when you sent it to them.
I didn't know.
Oh, you didn't know them.
I
Okay.
mean, I knew them as a fan.
Right, but they didn't like know.
They didn't know who. They had
Okay.
no idea who I
Yeah.
was. No idea.
Okay.
And they listened to the demo, and they're like, "Oh wow, we actually really like this. We've never taken demos from anyone before. We've never written anything with anyone before, but we're gonna make this song."
Sick.
And originally we wanted it to be our song and to
Right.
be on our EP.
But
But then it just like ended up becoming so much of like their song. At first that was like we're like a little bit like, oh, but damn. But it's always about just lowering your expectations,
Yeah.
taking and just zooming out, and you're like, wait, this is actually still sick.
yeah.
we now are writers and producers for, like, this is one of my favorite bands. You know, the song is like one of my favorite songs.
Yeah. There's sometimes more value in that, right? Long term.
Yeah.
Where you're like, okay, cool, would have been sick if like my artist name was on that and like blah blah blah. But like now I get to show people that hey, I can do this thing too.
Yeah.
And like and that could potentially open a whole new door for you guys.
And we want to do it. We want to
Right.
write for others because I mean, I really like the sound that we have
Yeah.
and how me and Andreas work together. And our own music project is so collaborative anyway. Like
Right.
all of our songs, we just like we're in sessions with our friends all the time, and it's just like
Right.
we're not very precious about who's on the song.
Right.
Like we just want to make fun stuff with our friends. And yeah, I mean, the song is called "To Be Free." I
Okay.
highly recommend checking it out.
Yeah,
But then we have another track coming with Curtis Wells, who's an artist that I was telling you before
Right.
before we got on the podcast, who I've been a fan of for 5 years. Just been talking to him, and then he wanted to put out his project on my record label, and that's been so cool. Being able to work with him
Yeah.
in that way, and then same thing. I just sent him a song. I was like, hey, like we have this song. We think it would be really good for you, and he was like, oh, I love this song. And then Andreas was here 2 weeks ago, and they got in the studio, and he tracked the song. And then it just so happened that the song that was supposed to come out next week, they had to not put it out because there's another artist on that track that wanted to put it out on their record. And now just like they're just doing a switch and they're putting our song as the single. So it's like honestly the fastest from like making the song to going out ever. Because usually it's like you make the song and it doesn't come out for like maybe
months,
a year
or 2 years, 5 years.
We literally recorded it with them 2 weeks ago and now it's coming out.
That's fucking amazing. It's so funny because I've been doing this songwriting producing thing for like I've been in LA for 10 years now. And I'm just starting to have the chutzpah to just like hit up people who I've worked with or who I haven't worked with and just be like, hey, I kind of have this idea. Like, what do you think? I never used to do it before. It was just like I was so nervous to do it. And now, if I make something, I'm like, oh, this could be good for, this artist that like I have even like a small relationship with. And just like shoot it over to them over text. And like, what do you think? And like sometimes we're like, this is sick. Yeah, let me see what I can do. Or sometimes they're like, yeah, it's not for me. And like hearing that it's not for me for so long was like so terrifying. But now I'm just like, yeah, it's just not for them. It's okay. Like it's fine. It could be for someone else. But and it's funny, it's advice I've always given people. It's like shoot your shot, send the DM, send the text.
Always.
You never know what's gonna happen. And it was just like I was so nervous to take my own advice.
Yeah.
But it works.
Yeah, I mean, I've literally my whole career has been based off just shooting my shot.
Yeah.
Like I do not hesitate at all. As there's a quote. It's like I don't know who said it, but if nothing changes, nothing changes.
Yeah.
And so if you're not, pushing yourself and just reaching out, like nothing's gonna change in your life. And like the worst thing that could happen is someone says no.
Right. Right.
And then like the best thing that happens is they say yes, and then in the middle is like, oh, this is cool, but like you said, it's not for me. Send me something new in the future.
Right. It's like I like this, but like, oh, it doesn't fit what I'm doing right now. But like, hey, like you have something here. Like,
let's keep working. So you're opening up a door.
Right.
Like so, it's just like shoot your shot all the time, and just like it's just I guess the cliche thing to believe in yourself.
Yeah. I mean, I did it the first time like 2 years ago, and it was like the artist was like, and actually it's a good story. I'm not going to name names just to like not call anyone out, but it was like an artist that I had somewhat of a relationship with. I had cuts with before, and we had this song that we didn't write for them. Oh no, we did. We wrote it for them specifically. It was like a pitch thing where I was like, hey, I have a relationship with this artist. We should write a song for them, and we sent it to her team. We sent it to her label. We sent it to her manager. All of them were like, I don't really know, blah blah blah. And then I was like, I'm convinced this girl never heard the fucking song. The artist never heard it. And so once I had a better relationship with her, I was just like, hey, what do you think of the song? And she listened to it. She's like, this is sick. And I was like,
that's usually the case.
Dude, it's like, and it's just like a thing where I was like, these fucking, everyone's like a gatekeeper. And I also, I don't want to trash the A&Rs because like, I understand that they get pitched so many songs every day, and
Yeah.
they can't show the artist every song. I understand that. So it's like, I'm not trying to like shit on those people, but it's just like, I don't know, if you have a gut feeling and you just gotta like, again, shoot your shot, like see what happens. The worst she says is that like, it's not for me.
Yep.
And
It's
that's
the
fine.
worst. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then like, you can be a little relentless
Yeah.
too. Like I am the king of the follow up.
How do you like to follow up?
Um,
It's
I
such a
mean,
delicate thing.
I
Unless you
don't
don't want to
know.
share that, which is fine.
No, I don't really have a method. I just try and like I'd be like, hey, just checking in, see if
Yeah.
you got this,
Yeah.
bumping this again. I know you're busy. Like,
Yeah.
have you had a chance to listen to this? Like, I will follow up 6 to 10 times.
Damn.
I mean, I'm working at a label too and trying to reach out to artists that are trying to be like cool and mysterious or
Right.
also just like busy. You learn that like you have to follow up, and you also learn that everybody's so busy with their own life. It's don't take it personally that they're
Yeah.
not looking at your message or didn't see it, or because
Right.
like I just think about myself and like how much I balance, and like I appreciate it when someone follows up with me
Right.
multiple times, because I'm like, for one, it shows me that they care and that they're really serious about whatever they want to show me.
Right.
And two, it's like I am thinking about so many things. I can't think about every person that's in my life
Mhm.
24/7.
Exactly.
So it's like most of the time when I do follow up with people, in the business world or in music, it's usually like, "Oh, thanks for following up. I totally spaced."
Yeah,
You know?
I'm the same way, and I tell people too, where it's like, especially if I, it's like a record, like I'm working on a record with people, and it's like, yo, if I forget to send you this, or like if I don't like reply to like your notes or something, like please like badger me,
Yeah.
because like I'm not ignoring you. I'm just like, yeah, I got kids, I got fucking
Exactly.
20 songs I'm working on at the same time. It's like it just
You
slipped
just
through the
got a lot.
cracks.
Everyone's got a lot going on.
Yeah,
And
and it
like,
doesn't mean I care any less or any more. It's just like life gets in the way, or
yeah.
like things pop up. Yeah, that's really, man, that's so true. Following up is like, again, just such another like anxiety driven thing where it's like, I don't want to be a bother. It's like, be a fucking bother.
Yeah. And
Like,
it's like people don't want to bother, and then people also, get in their head that like, oh, they don't want to talk to me.
right, right,
It's usually not the case.
right. They're just busy a lot of the
Yeah.
time. Hey, gang, I just wanted to pop in here to let you know that the best way you can help this podcast grow is to rate and review us wherever you listen to podcasts. It tells the algorithm to push our show to other listeners so we can grow, and it's one of, if not the best way to help support this podcast. So if you wouldn't mind, take a second to rate this podcast. Sharing it with your friends would be amazing too. All right, back to the pod. I want to talk about your label
Mhm.
and what made you, and you spoke about a little bit, that like something you've always been passionate about. What made you want to take that leap to be like, you know what, I'm gonna find, I think you found investors, or like just find people to be like, I want to start this label and see what I can do with it.
Mhm. And first of all, I couldn't have done any of this without my business partners. Like they're like, they're my business partners, but they're also my mentors too. In a way, I've learned so much from the guys that I started the label with. Sky and Jet are their names. They're just absolute passionate human beings. And they are so smart and business savvy, and like I literally could not have done this without them. They are absolutely rocks, and they are so consistent with everything, and yeah, they're a big inspiration. So just want to start off by saying that
Of course.
they like it's they're amazing.
Yeah.
But what got me really with the idea of starting my own label was, I am definitely a stubborn person, and I was really pissed off, in college and after college, when I would reach out to labels and A&Rs and get no response, even with the follow-ups. And then like the people I did meet with, they were just so like snobby, and like didn't like, it's like almost like they laughed at me like
Yeah.
by saying like they didn't believe that I have good taste or whatever. And it's just like that, like, all right, well, like fuck you.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna show you
Right.
that like I have good taste, and that like I know what I'm talking about, and that
Yeah.
like I've been doing this since I was a kid. Like when I was 10 years old, and when iTunes became a thing,
Yeah.
at first, I would listen to every single. You'd be able to search by genre, and then you can listen to every artist, like 30-second snippets. I would listen to everything, and then when I didn't really have a perception of money, but
Right.
like I would start. I had my parents' credit card in there. I would start buying
Buying.
the ones I liked in every genre, and then my parents, I didn't know what was going on, but
Yeah.
I spent like over $1,000, and my parents
I
freaked
never knew
out.
this. Oh my
My parents
gosh.
freaked out, but like they didn't. It's like I like think back to that moment, and they like didn't know how to like yell at me, be mad at me about it, because they know I didn't do it
Right.
intentionally.
You're like, oh, I thought I was just, like,
But they were
yeah,
pissed.
of course they were pissed.
They
Like, I
were
don't.
super pissed, and so like yeah, and so I've just been like so invested in listening to everything, and I still do it to this day. I spend hours every week, so many hours just listening to everything, and like so that's like a big part of me when I start a label is show the industry that like I don't need you guys, like I can do this. I know what's cool. I know what sounds good. Um and two is like just like my absolute passion to help other artists, and like I see the potential in other artists like
Right.
all the time. Like every day I find artists that like I believe in and want to help in some certain way. Even if even like I have a lot of conversations with artists, and I'm like, even if we don't work together on the label,
Right.
like if you're not on the label, I don't care.
Right.
Obviously it would be sick to have you on a label, but like it's at the end of the day, it's not fully my choice to sign artists. Like I have to work with my business partners,
Right.
but I want to be involved and help however I can, whether that's introducing the artist to other people,
Right.
educating them on how some of the systems work if they're very green, they don't
Right.
really know what they're doing, like helping them structure themselves to be, presentable to other labels, or if a label isn't of interest to them, just like helping them figure out how they can make a business around what they're doing.
Right.
Or getting them in the room with a producer, or getting them in the room with a songwriter, or introducing them to an artist community, because I feel like the artist community is so important, and if you're alone making music, it's a lot harder to make an impact in culture if you don't have a community surrounding
Dude,
you.
it's so important. Like, that's honestly something I learned from my own experience, like artists that I was working with, and I saw it a lot with, like, honestly, like Chelsea's whole crew, Chelsea Cutler's whole
Yeah,
crew, where it's like it was Chelsea, Quinn, Jeremy, like they were all like lifting each other up.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really fucking cool, dude. The one thing I wanted to ask you about, you were talking about how you get in and you help artists and you want to like help them develop them. One of the things that I really do hate about a lot of labels is they'll see an artist and then they'll want to be like, oh, well, this artist could be this,
Hmm.
as opposed to seeing the artist and being like, oh, I want to help them be that. They just need help. How do you go about, like, what's your kind of philosophy with that whole thing?
Yeah, I mean, our philosophy is that the artist is the CEO, and we only sign artists that have their own vision, that we know we're like, okay, this artist knows what they want to do, and all we have to do is execute on those things and make
Yeah.
it happen. It's a lot harder when you're talking to an artist and they don't know what to do. They're really talented. They don't really have a plan or see them. They don't know where they want to be in the next couple of years, where they're trying to go to. They're making music as they're amazing at making music. I'm not saying they're a bad musician, but to sign an artist to a label and then have to create their story and create who they are is not something that we want to do because it's not authentic.
Right.
And two, it's just like it doesn't work. Like, and I don't want to fabricate anything. Not only are we want to sign artists that are not only talented at making music, but are really it's really real, and it's
Right.
like that we can tell their story. At the end of the day, we're storytellers. We want to tell the stories of artists that are doing something incredible and are this is their career, this is their life. And if they have if they know what they want to do, they know that the music that they're making, and we can be like, okay, like here's what we can do to execute and get you from point A to point B. That's where we're always successful.
Yeah.
Like for example, an artist that we signed called Internet Girl, they were dropped by R&R Digital.
Okay.
We Jet, one of our partners, he's the one who really discovered them and was like talking to them, and we were talking to them for a long time before they signed to us. And they're from South Africa. No one in South Africa is making their kind of music at all, and so we saw that as an opportunity to really put them on the map. And they started, when we first signed, they started doing TikToks and content like we're the only band in Africa making this kind of music.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, they started getting traction in South Africa because they're like, oh my God, I didn't know a band like this existed
In
where I
South Africa,
live.
yeah.
Um, and it's been honestly one of the coolest projects to work on. They're seriously one of my favorite bands. They have such a vision for where they want to go. It's really easy to do the work. It's really easy to brainstorm with them on ideas because, it's a very 50-50 relationship. It's like
Mhm.
everyone is working together. I don't want to I hate when it feels like we're the label and this is the artist. I want it to feel like we're all a team on the same mission together. We're partners. We're not like, I don't like when it feels like that label and artist relationship where you're just pulling teeth and trying to strategize how to position to get what you want. It's like I want to be on a team with people.
Yeah.
Like it's never like I don't want to be the label,
Right.
So
As a producer, it's such a red flag to me when I'm working with an artist and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, like, we're writing a song, we're doing the thing." And then they start to open up and they're telling me about all the problems that they're having with their fucking label, where it's like, "I wanna do this, but label wants to do this, and blah, blah, blah." And I'm just like, "You're done." Not
yeah.
done career-wise, but, like, that relationship to me is like, I would love for someone to prove me wrong, but I have yet to see a successful, like, label artist collaboration when they're constantly just, like, not seeing the
Yeah.
same things.
Doesn't work.
No.
And like there is conflict that happens.
Yeah.
It's not like there isn't conflict between the artist and the label
Right.
sometimes. There's conflict in everything in
Yeah.
life. Sometimes I'd say the biggest conflict that we come across is we set up a schedule. All these companies like Spotify, Apple, whatever, etc. They're big corporations. They work on timelines far out. So as
Right.
a label, it's better if we give them everything up front. We tell
Right.
them what's happening from the first single to the end of the project.
Right.
We make a deck. These are corporations you're
Right.
dealing with, and
Right.
so you have to speak their language. And you know the schedule will change, for example, or the artist doesn't want to put out that song anymore. And those I find that's where like the biggest conflict will be is like figuring out, what do we do? How do we save the campaign? Because like as a label, it's in our best interest that the artist does well.
Right.
And if something like this happens, it could mess things up. And we don't want to mess things up. But that's just like an example of like where there could be conflict.
Yeah. That's what
But
it's like that kind of conflict is different than, like I've told the story on the podcast before, but like I shared a manager with like Billie Eilish and Phineas and a couple other people
mhm,
and I came up with them. And seeing how Billie's managers and her label chose to operate around Billie was such an eye-opening experience where they weren't dictating. And it's for a while I was nascent in the music industry where I thought that I was like, oh yeah, the label kind of guides everything. And then seeing how Billy was guiding everything, and managers and labels were there as facilitators.
exactly.
And they were like, "Cool, you wanna do that? It's our job to make that happen. You wanna, like, make this crazy music video where blue shit comes out of your eyes? Sick. Like, we will help you put that together."
Exactly.
And I watched that and I was like, "That's what it's supposed to be." That's, like that's how the relationship is, and I try and only work with artists when I do, like, when I take on an entire project, where I see that their teams are like that,
Yeah.
where they're like, they're not interested in being involved in the music creation. They're like, "Hey, like, send it over when it's done, and we'll give you our 2 cents if you want it," but it's just like, they understand, they signed you for a reason, they know you're gonna make good music, and that's their
Exactly.
job to do that, you know, for lack of a better term, again, facilitating for the
100%. I
artists.
mean, that's our ethos as well.
Yeah, I figured.
It's 100% our ethos.
Yeah.
And like anyone listening to this, you can ask the artists on our
Yeah.
roster, what they think. So,
I truly believe it. Yeah, dude, and what would you say artists need to understand about independent label success versus, like, major label success? How do you set up that expectation for them?
that it it is, we don't have $1 billion,
Right.
It's like our success is dependent on the success of the artist, So it's a team effort. Um, does that answer the question at all?
Yeah, let me frame the question a little bit better, right? I tell artists all the time, if you want a career like a Taylor Swift, you want a career like an Ariana Grande, a small independent label isn't for you. But if you want a career like some of my favorite artists, like artists that have been around for a long time, like Regina Spektor
Mm-hmm.
or Bright Eyes or um, the many, many cool artists that you work with, right? Even Jungle's a good example. Where, yeah, they're not having like huge radio hits and not everyone in the world knows who they are, but like they're having long 15, 20, 25, 30-year careers and they have their fans and they're touring and they're making good money. That to me, that's what I'm more saying. It's like
Mm,
an indie label versus like a major label, like those expectations.
totally.
Yeah.
Okay, I hear you now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I might be biased, but I think having an indie label as your partner is much better because you're usually working with a smaller team. Everyone's fully bought in as you as a priority. It's like for us at Pack, we're only signing like 5 to 8 artists a year. And so every artist is a priority. Like we don't have 100 artists to work with. We're putting out like a release a week on purpose. So like every release gets, its share of attention.
So as a label, you're like, hey, this is the song that's being released this week, and you're only focusing on that week.
Yeah. And
That's
if we
sick.
do 2 songs in a week, which is rare, they'll be in very different genres. Like
Okay.
we would never pair 2 artists that would be competing for the same spots in playlisting or whatever at
Yeah.
the same time.
What a wild concept when you used to have labels that would sign a similar artist just to shelve them.
Yeah. No, it's crazy.
God.
So you really, when you sign with an indie label, you're really getting an addition to your team rather than like joining, the system of a major label, which for one, most people there are clocking in and out.
Right.
It's just a job. It's so big and the responsibility of an artist being successful gets diffused over all these different people. So there's no blame. There's so many hands that everything is going through. It takes so long to make any decisions. As a developing artist, that doesn't work most of the time.
Right.
There are cases where it can work. Like this is just the general thing. Like
Right.
there's edge cases.
Right. Of course.
But with an independent team, you can be much more flexible. Like I said, you're always a priority. It's like it only touches so many hands, and I just think it's a much more organic process, and you're able to move a lot quicker, and that's what you need as an independent artist today. You need a team that is going to move quickly, be able to adapt, be a little scrappy,
less scrappiness.
which is constraints make you more creative. So it's like say you have this big budget idea for a music video, we don't really have the money to make it happen, but we will make it happen.
Right.
And we'll figure out how to make it happen, and it's going to have that same production value.
Yeah.
For example, with what's great about working with Internet Girl, they're in South Africa, so like the currency is different. So $1 here goes a long way
Goes a
over
lot
there.
longer there,
And so
yeah.
we're able to do these high production shoots and things because it's a lot cheaper. But even working in the U.S. With artists that want to do like have big creative visions, like I'm just as much an A&R for creatives as I am for music.
Right.
I sit on Instagram diving in looking for the next up and coming artistic director or animator or visual director or music video director, like young kids
Right.
that are trying to get their foot in the door. I am scouring Instagram looking for these people the same way I would look for a music
New
artist.
Yeah.
And so I'm able to like give opportunities to now there are some people that I've worked with that are now working creatively with much bigger artists because they were able to add our artists to their portfolio and experiment with really cool creative projects. There's pros and cons to everything. It's like when you're working with a younger up and coming creative on the art side, you're gonna have to be a little bit more they don't know what deadlines are yet, or they're not a big creative agency. So it's like you gotta, be on them a little bit more. You're obviously paying less, but you're gonna have to be a little bit more responsible for, getting it to the finish line on time.
Yeah.
But then you work with a bigger creative agency, they'll probably, get things done in the timeline, but there's more ego involved. They want to do it their way.
Right.
There's pros and cons to everything.
It's always a give and take with like everything in this industry. There was something you were saying that I kind of wanted to like talk about a little bit, where you were saying like the major label system, no one takes the blame. It's also spread out. It takes like a million emails to get one decision made, which is
Yeah.
like, again, I mostly work in the major label, not mostly, but like a lot of what I do is within the major label system, working with pop acts and whatnot. And man, I think you're so right. And I think it's like, it's so easy to shit on major label A&Rs. So easy to.
Hmm.
There's, Instagram pages about it that we all laugh at. But the one thing that I always feel for them for is, you were talking about it before, like they're working in these like huge fucking conglomerates, and they're just people that are just, for the most part, they're just trying not to get fired.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's such like a sad way to work. It's like I the second I shifted my thinking on that with A&Rs, where it's like most of these people are good, fine people. They really do believe in the art. They want to do the thing, but they're just like, they're young. They're in a situation where it's like, I got bills to pay. I'm just like trying not to get fired right now,
Yeah.
which I think is a bad way to run a label long term.
Yeah,
I think
100%.
like how you guys are describing, where it's like, yeah, we're just trying to do a thing and like take risks and be scrappy. And it's like so many A&Rs, it's like, there are some songs that I do where I'm like, I know this is fucking great. But it's a risk of a song. And they're so afraid to like send it to the head A&R. They're so afraid to send it to the artist because they're afraid that it's going to make them look bad
Yeah.
and then lose their job, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah,
Uh,
but then there's also another personality in the music industry, which is my least favorite, and I really don't like talking shit ever, but,
yeah.
like, there is the people that are in the music industry to make money in the music industry,
Yeah.
which is crazy to me that that's the industry that you're gonna choose to try and make the most money
It's so
possible.
stupid.
And so, like, there's, like, the sharks,
Right.
that are trying to make a quick buck in music. I'm like, "Why are you in music? Go in finance."
Yeah. Go in
Like,
real estate or something. Just
yeah,
like, this
go
is
don't
not the place to do it.
why are you trying to, like, make this like a fucking business? Like, and that's not you have to make money, but, like, my priority is music first
Right.
and then business.
Right.
There are people in the music industry that are business first, and I don't even know if they even care about the music at all. They're just trying to make, like, money.
Yeah.
And, like, that's my least favorite character in the music industry.
Yeah, and there's a lot of them. We all know who they are. Like, I'm not gonna call them out right now because that's crazy. But like, I tend to personally, I'm like allergic to those type of people, where it's like, at the detriment to my own career sometimes, where I'm just like, I don't want to work with that person.
Yeah.
It doesn't make me feel good. Like, I don't like what they're trying to do. I don't like, like situations where they're so worried about, like, quote unquote winning the negotiation,
Yeah. It's like,
that
what are we doing?
it's I know for a fact that, like, I mean, obviously, like, I'm biased because it's about myself, but like, I am always trying to make the fairest deal possible for everyone.
Same.
And it's like, you have some like people where it's like they're fighting over like $1,000 or $500 or 1 point, just so they can feel like they can win. And I'm like, what? Why?
Yeah.
What are we doing this for? Like, I don't understand. And you see the other side, where it's like, you sometimes work with labels and people, are they're just so it's just so much easier. It's like, hey, I'm thinking it'll be these splits, and like, can I get this fee? It's like, sure. It's like,
Yeah.
great,
That's
okay,
how it should be.
right. It's like, it's honestly, it's not that hard of a business to do. And I can cut this out if you're not comfortable talking about it. But one of the things that I found with, not all, and it's kind of run by these types of people that we're talking about. There's some indie labels that they want to have indie budgets, right? Where it's like, hey, we don't have like these huge budgets to pay producers, to pay mixers, to pay whomever, but they still want major label like back end, right? Where it's like, yeah, but we're still gonna like control, like 80% of everything,
Mhm.
even though we're not paying. Like, what's your philosophy with that kind of a thing? And again,
I
if you don't
mean,
want to talk about this,
80%, that's a lot.
I mean, the major label is 80/20 kind
Yeah,
of a thing,
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, we do ours are like 50/50, net
Yeah.
profit splits, because we, and I believe this about my label, we
Yeah.
actually do the work. Like, we're
Mhm.
actually, our hands are in it. We're very involved, and I think we deserve, that 50%.
Right.
Like, that's like when, I'm talking to an artist and they're like, why would I sign with you and do a 50/50 when I can go to like a distributor, and get 70/30 or
Right.
80/20? Um, I'm like, because the distributor is not going to care about you or prioritize you they're going to give you, they might give you a budget, but you're on your own.
Right.
Like you're like, if you're not the top artist at the distributor, you're not going to be pitched the same way at all.
Right.
And then when you sign with us, it's like, yes, it's 50-50, but you're a priority. Like, we have our own relationships with everyone. Like, you're going to be at the top of every list that we do. We're going to be in the weeds with you the whole way through. We're going to plan everything out. We're on meetings every week. Like, and that's why it's like, we're going to do 50%, and so I think 80-20 is crazy for
I mean,
label
listen,
artists,
I agree with you. I think I like
in
the
any case.
I like the independent model. I do think 50-50 is fair and like how you guys do things.
If you're doing the work,
Right.
if the label is doing the work, it's fair. If the
Right.
label is like, we're going to do 50-50, but we're just going to like,
Well, if the label's a glorified distributor,
yeah.
then it's like, nah, that doesn't make fucking sense.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing?
And there's a lot of labels like that
Yes.
don't do shit.
Yes. I mean, trust me, I agree. I'm starting to like pay more and more attention when I work with artists, like, who's your label? And it's like, really, like, if I've worked with them before, understanding what they've done before. And like, it sucks because it's like, I always want to work, it's kind of what you're saying, right? Like, my goal is always to first make music. But my second goal is to like, it's not even to make money, it's to make sure I'm not being taken advantage of.
Yes.
And that to me is so important where, I'm working with an indie label right now. And like, it's one of those situations where it's like, you're offering me such low money and then the same as like a major label back end. And I'm like, man, I fucking love this song. I love this artist. But it's like, this is, you're taking advantage of me now. You're taking advantage of the fact that it's like, taking advantage of the fact that I like the artist, that I like the song, that I'm a nice guy, and I don't want to cause a roadblock. And like, that feels gross to me.
Yeah, it happens a lot in
Yeah.
this industry.
Yeah, it all the time.
Yeah.
And like, I'm still sitting here on this email, where they've sent over their final offer, and I'm like deciding if if I am going to be that roadblock and kind of like stand up for myself and be like, I'm really sorry, I can't agree to this, and then they're probably gonna come back and be like, you're gonna make the band really upset. I'm like, seems like you're making the band really upset. That's like fucking narcissistic, abusive fucking relationship things where it's like, you're gonna make this person upset. It's like, I think you are. Like, so if you can't tell, I have a real gripe about this kind of thing. I'm curious, and again, we can cut this out. You know me, I'm a very big songwriter advocate. How do you guys go about? I know you guys are mostly dealing with artists who are mostly writing their own shit, but in rare cases when songwriters are being added on, do you guys try to include them at all, or how do you guys try to like navigate that?
I mean, I think everything's pretty fair that we do.
Yeah.
There's never really any contention. It's like like if you're in the room with the artist, it's like you deserve your percentage of whatever it is.
Right.
We're not like, we don't haggle anybody and like try and like, fight over pennies.
Right. Yeah. It's a losing battle for
yeah.
everyone.
Yeah. I mean, we keep it very, very easy, very fair.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're in it for the artist, and if a songwriter is also an artist too.
Yeah.
So it's like, and this is it's all about relationships. It's like, create that good relationship. Like, it's just gonna end up being more fruitful over time. People are so into short-term thinking.
Yep.
It's like, think long-term always.
Yep.
It's like those relationships. It's like with everyone you meet in life, especially in music, you never know how you're gonna interact with them again. And so just be a good person. And like, so many opportunities have come my way just because, like, I've met people in the past, and I've just always, just tried to add value, be of service, and that just good karma comes back around.
Yeah, dude, I love this conversation so much. It's going to be one of the more original podcasts we have here. But because it's producer points, we're still going to do our favorite plug or unplug. Like I said, Gavin is a great producer as well, not only a label head, had the many other things I mentioned. So for our listeners and for Gavin here, I'm going to say a plugin, piece of gear, hardware, I don't know, fuck whatever. And you give me plug if it's something you like and you use a lot, unplug if you haven't, if it's something you don't like and doesn't really fit into your workflow, or bypass and make inactive if you're like, yeah, I've never really used it before. Like, I don't feel a need for it.
Mhm.
Simple enough. First one, curious if you ever used this microphone. It was my go-to for a long time, a Neumann TLM 103.
I don't think so. I have no
Yeah.
idea. I'm like such not a gear
Yeah.
nerd. I just like whatever is in front of me, I is what I'm using.
We were talking about this before because I was like,
Yeah.
I know Gavin is like this. And I was like, before recording, I was like, if you don't want to do plug or unplug, like,
No, I'm
it's
down.
fine.
I'm down
You know,
because
it's
like
funny. Yeah.
it's important because like I feel like a lot of producers will get in their own way of
Yeah.
actually making the music because like, oh, I don't have this. I don't have
Mhm.
this. Like, and then for me, it's like there's guys like, Steve Lacy, his whole story is making music on his
On iPhone.
phone,
Yeah.
or that dude David,
Yeah.
make, in BandLab. It's like don't get in your own way.
Yep. Just like use the tools that you have. Like, and also because I know you're a Logic user, it's like for $200, Logic has everything you need.
Yeah,
You honestly like, if I had to, I could make great sounding stuff just using Logic.
exactly. And
Yeah.
I tell this to people all the time. Cause I will like in a lot of our songs, I use Logic stock
Yeah.
sounds.
They're great.
But most, people who call themselves producers are
Mm.
like, I can't use stock stuff. Like,
Yeah.
so they just completely bypass it and never use it. We get all these plugins. And so like, I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to have all these original sounds that you
Yeah.
guys aren't using
Right.
that you don't know are right there. Like
Yeah.
there's a plugin it's a Logic based plugin called Alchemy.
Yeah. Alchemy's great.
There's it's in every one of the songs on our new EP. It's this one sound called I think it's called Celestial Voices, and then
Okay.
I make it. There's like a setting called like Star setting or whatever, and it just sounds like, the most dainty shooting star ever, and it's in every breakdown, every build up,
So
and it's
funny.
just like it adds such a amazing atmosphere that just feels like a love language song.
Yeah.
So it's like for me it's never been about like the gear, the plugin. It's about like, does this make sense? Does this sound good?
Dude, I fucking love that. All right. Next thing I'm gonna ask. The Slate digital kind of virtual mix rack, like kind of their one and all bundle there.
No idea.
No idea. There you go. For our listeners, it's like everyone knows about that one. It's like except for Gavin.
I
Fuck
am
this
I
guy.
am like I'm like this in almost every part of my life.
Yeah.
Like, I'm also a big skier,
Yeah, yeah.
this. I couldn't tell you a single trick on ski.
You just
Or
do it.
I just do it.
Yeah.
And same with like, this was funny, like, I've played with Chelsea Cutler for
Yeah.
5 years. I don't know a lyric.
Yeah, no.
Not one lyric. I just do it.
Yeah, you just play it.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's
No.
worked for me.
No, dude. It's like, again, I'm like plug-in and gear obsessed because like it's a hobby for me,
Yeah.
and that's why I like it. It's like fun for me to like learn new things, and it's like
I like when people show me
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
And I'm like, and then put it in front of me and they're like, oh, this is what this is. I'm like, oh, I want to play with
yeah,
play with that.
exactly. Yeah, it's super fun, and it's like, maybe it's my ADD, but it's like I also just like having new toys all the time.
Yeah.
Where like it just kind of like inspires me and like, to like try something different as opposed to just like using the same couple tools. Which again, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But it's like I know how I like to work, and
I
I
feel
like
like it would probably benefit me to, get more like that. Like I think about it sometimes because like, how times I'm making music and just tinkering so much because I'm just looking for the sound. I'm sure if I spent more time on my education of the gear,
right.
I'd be able to just like be like, oh, I know how to get to that sound immediately,
But like even that, it's like, how do I describe it? I'm not the best, like I can hear a sound and then make it kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
I can get there eventually. I've been doing this for long enough where I should be able to. But like for me, it's like kind of like what I said. It's like, oh, I got this new plugin, and like I just like I find things by just like starting to like twist knobs
Mm-hmm.
and just like see what it does, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like I guess that's the sound now.
Yeah.
Things like that. That's like personally how I
Yeah.
like to use.
I also think it's like because of how I make music, that's why it sounds the way it does.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like my lack of knowledge gives me
Right. I think lack of knowledge is such a big thing. No, truly. I think it's
Yeah.
like it's why I think like so much like my early music was like, in my opinion, like cool, where I was like, I don't know what I was doing. It's
Mhm.
like, and that's what I'm trying to chase. Where it's like I try and open up a new tool. I'm like, I don't fucking know what I'm doing with
Let's
this.
just play.
Right, let's just play. It's because
Yeah.
I have the curse of knowledge
Yeah.
that I'm just like, I know what to do. So, I'm trying to like constantly like chase that.
Yeah. That
that
might be
feeling.
something. I might just, I'm always on the pursuit of play.
Yeah.
And the less I know about something, the more playful it can be.
Right. Dude, I'm telling you, that's exactly what I'm going for. It's like play for me is the word. I'm just like, I never have a plan. I'm just kind of like I was in a camp yesterday and I was there was a plugin that like I bought years ago. I hadn't used in years, and it's called Korg Wave Station.
Okay.
And it's like Korg is like a company that they made a bunch of synths
Yeah,
back in the day.
I do know Korg.
And well, for our listeners too. And the Wave Station is like basically it's like it was like the sound of like the late 80s and the early 90s.
Cool.
And it's like if you think of like a Disney movie, like those like weird like chimey piano, like it was like those types of sounds.
Mm-hmm.
And like the 90s Michael Jackson sounds. Anyway, it's that thing. And I was like, I don't know, this will be fun. Fucking let's see what happens. And I like brought up like a random like rock, it was called Rocktine Piano. And I started playing it and I was like, that's pretty cool. And everyone in the room was like, what the fuck is that? Sick. I was like, I don't fucking know. I just found it. And we wrote a sick song with it. I'll show Gavin.
My favorite videos are the ones of like, I think there's one with the gorillas.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, how did you make this song? And he's like, oh, it's just a preset on this thing.
Yeah.
And
it was an omnichord.
Yeah.
It was like the rock drum thing. And it was just like, oh, fuck you, man. Like,
That's I feel like that's like how my brain kind of works too.
But I think that's the thing, kind of what you're saying too, right? Where, people are like afraid to use like the stock Logic things. And it's like, why? It's like trust your taste. If it sounds like if it sounds good, it sounds good. It's like why people like sometimes like the shit on Splice, and it's like, I don't know, if you find a cool loop on Splice and it inspires you,
exactly,
use it. Like I don't care if someone else used it already.
Yeah, we definitely like we'll play in Splice too for inspiration, and then we'll switch things.
Right,
like,
yeah. Dude,
we'll
1000%.
We'll take we'll find an acapella. We'll write a song around the acapella, and then take out the acapella and have someone sing something completely different.
I tell like producers to do that shit all the fucking time.
Yeah.
Like, there's like a couple producers that I'm like mentoring, and they're like, yeah, I just like don't have like top lines to write about. I'm like, go on Splice.
Yeah.
Like find those top lines and just like make a track around it, then take them out.
Or something that we you can just like it's like called you can just rip
the AI thing. Yeah.
You just rip like vocals from any track. Like you have unlimited top lines to produce around. Like you can literally like make a remix of a song and then pull the vocal out and then just like go from there.
Yes, I think that's actually like another fucking great way to do it. It's like, look, this song that like is a hit already has good structure. It's also a fun fact for younger producers. It's a great way to learn structure.
Yeah.
Like not every song needs structure, but like it needs some kind of structure.
Like the song that we wrote for Night Tapes started as a remix of a different song.
Right. Yeah. And that's what happens. Like sometimes the remix doesn't come out and you're like, all right, fuck, we'll just keep this instrumental. Yeah. I did that when my band like used to do like remixes, Royal Tongues. Like it was like a thing. Indie pop bands would do remixes of other songs. We made a remix and like the other band, like they weren't feeling it. And I was like, all right, whatever. But I was like, I still fucking love this like track that I made.
Yeah.
And we used it for a Royal Tongue song eventually, where I was like, cool, great. This is now my own song.
Yeah.
And it ended up coming out. All right, I'm gonna ask the plugin that we ask on every Plug or Unplug. So I'm curious if you've used this one.
Let's see.
It's because it's like the most like controversial plugin of all time.
Okay.
CLA Vocals.
Nope.
Yeah. That one, do you know what it is? Yeah. It's like a vocal plugin where it's like you just put it on and like it sounds good. But it's like very funny because it has a sound and people either like love it or hate it. So it's one of those plugins.
I like Valhalla for reverb.
There you go.
I use Diva a lot.
Oh, Diva's great.
Diva, we pretty much most of our synth lines are on Diva.
Yeah.
Or we have like a Juno plugin as well that we use.
The towel one, the TAL.
I think so.
Probably it's like $50 is the best one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the post-chorus synth line in Midnight is from the Juno.
Yeah.
Sound Toys.
Really love Sound Toys. I did have Sound Toys Primal Tap on here, but I was just like, fuck it.
Yeah.
It was also like that's like the one that like no one uses.
I don't think I use that one.
Yeah,
either.
no one does. It's like
check it out.
It's just there.
Nice.
It's there.
Trying to think like use the Nicky Romero side chain tool.
There you go. Classic. God, fucking love it. You know which one you should get that I'm gonna bring up right now? The Arturia V collection.
Okay.
It's really good because it's like it has like fucking 20. It has 20 synths, like real synths, like a Juno, a Prophet, all these other fucking things. Yeah, it's soft synth versions of them, and then it has this really incredible tool that I fucking love called Analog Lab, where it's like it has all the synths in one plugin, and you can kind of like comb through, and they have patches where it's like combining two of the synths and stuff. It's really fun. It's like a fun way to like, again, just like kind of stumble upon sounds. All right, dude. Well, this is where we're going to end our podcast, but We've been ending our podcast asking our guests to give themselves some advice that you've been given, advice that you give out now, something that you wish you could tell yourself like 15 or 20 years ago, and that
Mhm.
some of our younger producers could hear.
Yeah, I mean, I think the most important thing, which I've tell most people, I said a lot of it on this
Yeah.
podcast, but is that everything takes longer than you think it will.
Hmm.
That's, I think that's the most important thing to keep in your mind. Like, I mean, you know this, we both know this. We've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
We only got to where we got, and we were talking about this before, is because we just stayed consistent
Hmm.
and kept trying to do things, kept doing, just kept relentlessly just doing what you love and not expecting anything really to
Right.
happen. And like I never expected it to become a professional drummer. That happened later in my 20s,
Right.
which is like a rare thing, you know. I honestly didn't even expect to start a record label.
Right.
You know, it's just like I just continued doing what I love to do. And these things started to happen over time. You know, everything, you know, from the time I graduated when I was 22 in college, you know, like I guess 4 years isn't that long when I became a professional drummer. I wasn't
Right.
trying to. And then the label really started going off when I turned like 29 years old.
Yeah.
Like, you know, everything takes a long time. And I'm like, I think that's the most important thing. Everyone gets so discouraged and
Which is
quits.
funny because like someone saying like I started a label at 29, be like, that's young.
Yeah.
That was fast.
Yeah.
Which is very
No, but
funny.
it's just like everything takes a long, like not, it's not, nothing's gonna happen, and it's important to also, you know, when you start doing something that you're passionate about and you're going towards the goal, zoom out, reflect, and look at where you were. You know, the things that you've done in, you know, the year, the month.
Right.
You know, because like in the moment, it's so hard to see your progress because you're living it. But when you all of a sudden you take a step back and you're like, oh shit, like I've done all these things.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
I've always said, like, it's something I told our grandparents, my dad, my wife, when I started doing music. And I always said, as long as my career is going in a forward trajectory, even if it's like, it looks like the stock where it's like up and then down and whatever. But when you zoom out, as long as it's going up,
Hmm.
I can't stop.
Yeah.
If it's only when if like I'm going up and then it really for a while it keeps going down, that's when I was like, okay, that's when I need to stop. And it was the same thing you said, about the tour where it's like, I will regret this for the rest of my life if I don't do this.
Yeah.
And I never, it's what I told everyone when I was doing music. I was like, my band was taken off. I was like, I have this opportunity. If I don't take this opportunity, I'm gonna fucking hate myself. I'm gonna be a miserable old man and always think of like what could have been versus like trying and being successful or trying and like failing so hard. But at least I tried.
Yeah.
And that's part of the thing. But dude, I think you gave so much incredible advice, insight into a label. Everyone knows you're such a wonderful human, but thank you again for doing the podcast. This has been so amazing. So thanks again to you, to our listeners, and take care, guys.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. I got the chills.
Thanks for tuning in to Producer Points. Your support means the world to us. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, rate, and share with fellow music enthusiasts. For an encore, check out our Spotify playlist featuring all the songs we've discussed on the show, giving you the perfect soundtrack to your creative journey. Additional audio and video editing for this episode was done by Nathan Rebello. Until next time, this is Justin Gamella.